All right, everybody, how's it going? If you clicked on this, you're probably wondering about the stimulus check that's coming out. When you're going to get it, how you're going to get it, how are they going to know where to send it to, how to send it to, all that stuff. I'm going to go over all this stuff. I'm going off the info that Business Insider has given. Also, with this video you're viewing now on this channel, I'm going to. This is an older channel I had. I'm going to revise this and try to. My goal is try to. I was doing this on another channel, but I was wanting to make this its own separate entity now. I'm going to attempt to create videos similar to this daily. That's like kind of current news, topical stuff like that. So I think this channel only has like 17 subscribers right now. So if you want to subscribe, that'd be great. So let's get into this. And also I'll list my other channel too. It's like an art channel. That might as well start a gaming channel too. Get all this stuff going. All right, where's my stimulus check? Here's when your payment should arrive. And this is from yesterday, and there's another one we'll go over too that was posted a couple hours ago. The IRS will start sending out paper stimulus checks by the end of April. Americans will start receiving stimulus payments as early as April 9th, according to an internal IRS memo reviewed by the Washington Post. Most people should receive their money by mid-April via direct deposit, the Treasury said. If the IRS doesn't have your bank information, it will send a paper check to your last known address. The checks will be sent out starting at the end of April up until early September. Note that this schedule is subject to change. This post will be updated to reflect the latest information. So it says most Americans receiving a stimulus check should expect to see that payment in their bank account by April 15th. That also happens to be the former tax deadline. Because of this whole corona thing, they actually moved the tax deadline to, I believe, is June 15th. So if you haven't filed, you got a little bit of time to file. While the IRS is attempting to get payments to people as soon as possible via direct deposit, it's still going to have to issue paper checks to millions of people who haven't provided bank details. If we have your information, you'll get it within 2 weeks. Social Security, you'll get it very quickly after that. If we don't have your information, you'll have a simple web portal. We'll upload it. And if we don't have that, we'll send you checks in the mail. Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin, I think is his name, said in a White House press briefing on April 2nd. So if you filed taxes last couple of years and you kind of put like you giving them your bank information for like direct deposit, if you do like TurboTax or something like that or whatever it is, you should get it that way mid-April. It seems like if you get Social Security and you either have like the Social Security card or you have it linked to a bank, you should get it shortly after that as well. You don't have to sign up or apply for anything to get your payment. In fact, if you receive a call, email, Facebook message, or other communication about your stimulus check, it's probably a scam. The government will never ask you to verify personal information over the phone and certainly will not ask you for money. Here's when you can expect your stimulus payment to arrive based on all the information we have so far. IRS will begin electronic payments April 9th. According to an internal document reviewed by the Washington Post, IRS plans to begin generating electronic payments on April 9th for taxpayers who have filed a 2018 or 2019 tax return and qualify for a stimulus check. Dependents older than 16, people without a Social Security number, and those incomes above $99,000 or $136,500 if you file as head of household. And I believe it was also $200,000 if you're filed married or jointly. I'm also wondering too with this, say you make like $101,000. Say you haven't done your 2019 taxes yet, but 2018. Good Lord. You had $101,000, but you're like a restaurant manager and you're like out of work now, so you won't get the stimulus checks. I'm wondering how that's going to work. Like what number of people are going to be in that situation. I got the corona. Up to 70 million people will be paid by April 15th. Patricia McLaughlin, I don't know her name, a spokeswoman for the Treasury Department, told the Post that 50 million to 70 million people would have their payments deposited by April 15th. That's good. So that's about roughly about 10 days from the time of recording this. The Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, or CARES Act, stipulates that stimulus payments will also go to Americans' own Social Security, retirement, and disability benefits, even if they haven't filed a recent tax return. Social Security recipients who are not typically required to file a tax return do not need to take an action and will receive their payment directly to their bank account, Mnuchin said in a Treasury release. The payments will be for the maximum amount, $1,200, and paid via the direct deposit or mailing information reported on tax forms SSA 1099 for Social Security recipients and RRB 1099 for people who retired from railroad service. I've never heard of the people that retired from railroad service having a specific tax form. That's weird. Paper checks will start going out April 24th. For those who have not filed a tax return in the past 2 years or do not have direct deposit information on file with the IRS, the agency said it would give taxpayers the opportunity to submit this information online before sending out paper checks. So you actually have a chance to submit your stuff to get a direct deposit so you can hopefully get it sooner than waiting for a paper check to come in the mail. In the coming weeks, Treasury plans to develop a web-based portal for individuals to provide their banking information to the IRS so that individuals can receive payments immediately as opposed to checks in the mail. IRS wrote on its website, TurboTax has launched a free portal of its own for those who want to submit direct deposit details to the IRS. If you don't submit your direct deposit details, the payment will be sent as a paper check to your last known address. The IRS will begin issuing these checks on April 24th, according to the Post report, and prioritize low-income Americans. Checks for people with an adjusted gross income of $10,000 or less will be sent out April 24th. I'm assuming this is just the paper checks, and everybody else will get it around the 15th. The last group of people to get paid should be issued paper checks by September 11th. That's quite a bit out. That's like 5 months out. From there, the IRS will send out 5 million paper checks per week, moving up the income thresholds in 10,000 increments, according to the report. For instance, people with incomes above $20,000 and less and $30,000 will be sent checks on May 1st. May 8th, people with incomes between $30,000 and $40,000 will be sent checks, and so on. Yeah, but that shouldn't take all the way out to September, though, would it? That's weird. The process of mailing checks is expected to continue until September 4th, when joint filers with an adjusted gross income of $198,000, the cutoff for the minimum stimulus payment, will receive theirs. According to the Post, remaining payments for those who the IRS had no prior tax information will be sent out September 11th. Okay. Then there's another thing over here. Everything we know about the Corona stimulus checks that will pay many Americans up to $1,200 each. This is part of the $2 trillion stimulus package from the U.S. government. Is a one-time cash payment of up to $1,200 for Americans who qualify. Those payments, coronavirus stimulus checks, if you will be paid automatically to Americans with Social Security numbers. If you filed taxes 2018, 2019, or you don't file taxes but you get Social Security payments, you don't have to do anything to get a payment. If you don't file taxes or get Social Security, the IRS has mentioned it will set up a simple web portal to submit the information, though details on that are still coming. In the meantime, TurboTax has launched its own free web portal to submit direct deposit information to the IRS. Americans who have set up direct deposits should get their payments by mid-April. So a lot of this is kind of going over the same thing as well, saying that President Trump signed the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Act, or CARES Act, into law. He initiated the $2 trillion stimulus package, the largest emergency relief bill in American history. Now, I have an issue. There's a lot of people bringing it up, too, that like a very minuscule amount is actually going out to the American people, and it's being... like certain businesses and stuff are getting like massive amounts of money, which is insane. It essentially shouldn't happen. I think it's like $25 million to like the Kennedy Center or something like that. Part of the package is a one-time cash payment of $1,200 to Americans who qualify, An extra $1,200 is always welcome, but with the announcement of cash came the questions. What is it? Who gets it? How much will I get? Is it taxable? What do I have to get it? Below are the answers. Saying, what is a coronavirus stimulus check? The payment, which the IRS is calling an economic impact payment. The government has named a recovery rebate, and many people are calling it a stimulus check. It's technically an advanced tax credit meant to offset your 2020 federal income taxes. Am I going to get a check? We went over this. How much will I get? We went over this as well. And this kind of goes over a little graph here, talking about getting it single, getting it coupled. Basically going over, you need direct deposit information or Social Security information. Who won't get it? Went over that as well. How will I get the money? Went over that as well. And we went over this. Is the money from the check taxable? No, the money is not taxable. What if my 2008 income qualifies, but my 2019 income doesn't? The IRS bases the amount of your payment on the AGI listed in your most recent tax return, 2018 or 2019. In some cases, when your income changed between 2018 and 2019, your 2018 income might qualify for a larger payment than your 2019 payment, or perhaps it may qualify for any payment while your 2019 does not. In that case, because the IRS has extended the federal tax filing and payment deadline to July 15th, all states that tax income have also their deadlines in most cases until July 15th. You could hold off filing your 2019 income tax. That's if you already haven't, until the IRS has issued your payment, forcing the organization to use your 2018 income. I would assume most people probably do their taxes as soon as they can, probably in February. I personally haven't at the time because I have to go through, and it was where I have a business where I have to go through and do all the income versus expenses, and I've and I do it myself through TurboTax. So I have to go through and put everything in. I'm just, I don't want to do it until I have to. But I will do it before April 15th. I'm not going to wait till July to do it because I do get a little bit back. But that's like I'm saying, most people that probably, but then again, the bottom 60% of tax earners, so to speak, don't actually pay any federal income taxes. They get it all back. It's only like the top 40% of people that actually pay federal taxes. So there's that too. Because most people treat it as like, oh, it's a free check. I'm like, no, it's money you have that you loan to the government at zero interest. You need to adjust your tax income to get all that now. But people are like, oh, I got like $5,000, $8,000 back. I'm like, oh, you're not smart. Waiting to file has a few downsides, like waiting longer to get your refund and giving identity thieves more time to try and pry on your taxes. However, Riley Adams, a public accountant, previously told Business Insider, if you qualify for a stimulus check under your 2018 income, but not at all under 2019, it might be worth holding off filing for a few weeks, assuming you haven't already. What if I owe back taxes? You'll still get the check if you qualify. These are treated as a tax refund. It's saying people try to scam you. So no, the government's not going to inquire via phone call, email, or Facebook or anything. So be on the watch for that. What if I get my check and it's too big? You don't need to do anything. I don't believe that. I believe they send you $2,400. You're going to end up paying it back. Remember, technically this payment is a tax credit. A tax credit reduces your tax bill on a dollar-for-dollar basis. It is one of the last steps to calculating your annual tax liability and can be claimed regardless of whether you itemize your deductions, which most people usually don't itemize their deductions unless they're making like more than like $75,000. Most people take like the general tax deduction. Some tax credits, like the coronavirus recovery rebate, are refundable. That means you'll still get the money even if you don't have enough tax liability to offset it. There aren't any clawback provisions outlined in the law. I never heard of a clawback. So you wouldn't be expected to repay any of the money if you wind up getting too much. What if I get a check and it's too small? While it won't help you today, experts at the IRS will allow taxpayers to reconcile underpayment on next year's tax return. And that's just like the government screwing stuff up. If you should have gotten a check and didn't, or if you should have gotten more than you did because the IRS didn't know something important, like you have a kid, you should get more money. Next tax season, Kelly Phillips, ERB, a tax lawyer, wrote Forbes. I guess the way I put it is like, I try to like not, I want to deal with the government in like the most minimum, least amount that I can. I want to give them both in money and in power. You'll soon learn if you continue watching this channel. I'm not a fan of the government. I worked for the government a few years, and when you're like inside the government, you're like, oh, it's run by dumb people. They don't know what they're doing. People see this government as like an all-known entity. No, it's just a bureaucracy that very rarely gets checked of its powers, and it can do what it wants to. So if you're kind of curious where this channel is going to be going, I'm going to be covering issues. Like I said, current events. I want to do like at least one. I may do more, but I'm shooting for like at least one video. I mean, I'm doing all this other stuff too. So for this channel, I want to do, you know, just one video a day on current events, topics, whatever I find interesting or important at the time. But also I'm very much First Amendment, very much Second Amendment, if that has any influence on this. But yeah, if you like this video, give it a like. If you really liked it, you subscribe. I guess I'm now trying to build this channel up as well, but with daily videos, hopefully it'll help. Then at some point in the future, try to get it monetized. But then again, I know current event channels have issues with getting demonetized because of some certain subjects they talk about. So depending on how this channel proceeds in the future, we'll figure out stuff by then, or figure out stuff for then, by then. I don't know. It's late. But yeah. So, all right. Peace. Actually, in the comments below, I'm kind of curious if you made it this far. When you get the check, do you have any plans for the check? You're just going to save it? Are you going to spend it? You're going to invest it? I'm wondering if certain people may, because there's a lot of people, especially in the restaurant industry, they're like out of jobs. So I'm wondering if you just go and get takeout and you tip, I don't know, tip them like $1,200. I'm not going to do that. I thought about it, but I'm like, like most people have bills and not necessarily a ton of savings. So I was thinking about people that had higher accounts and there's just kind of extra money, what they would do with it. But yeah, if you have any plans with it or not, I don't know, you can buy a PlayStation 4 and get the new Final Fantasy VII remake game coming out, which is it's an idea, or a GoPro or something. But okay, I'm kind of rambling at this point. All right, see you later, maybe tomorrow. Peace.